select clear view. On select clear view,
it goes and reads the ref note, right? And then goes back and continues to read for the person, right? So what ideally happens when we do a recording of a book, we only record the text. Now, how does a child go back to that page, that section? You need pure navigation to be able to read a book effectively. It just can't be one CD or one cassette, pad liya, you've learnt and you've forgotten. How do I go back to 400 hours, fourth hour suddenly in the middle? There has to be some kind of logic. So this kind of a thing allows you to build, you've got your TOC, you've got a navigation center where you can go to all the different headings, subheadings. You have bookmarks. You can create your own bookmarks. You can go anywhere that you want to. And, jump headings. So I can jump to the next heading.
Screen reader and screen magnification support. With the screen readers and screen magnification tool, over HTTP, very brief, physical access.
So I can jump sections very easily.
Services and communication.
Right? And I can continue to read the whole book. Now this has been synthesized with an Indian English accent voice. Why? Because the end user should not only hear American or a British accent, but we should be able to relate to it. So this is a voice called Sangeeta, which has been used. Interestingly, the same company also has a Hindi voice and a Hindi accent called Lekha, which is there. So we actually have to start to give them access to technology in the way that they would need it. An average blind person or visually impaired person, giving him an American accent, how logical is that for any of us? But that is really what we are doing today. So with a digital talking book format, you can easily provide them access to technology without any problem. Any questions till now? No. That can be controlled at the time of the digitizing. You can control it. The last is accessible website and digital libraries. Today we are all creating digital libraries, but are these libraries compliant with international World Wide Web Consortium formats? Right? The World Wide Web, which is actually the main body that has written out the HTML, right, also has something called the Web Content Accessibility Guideline, or WCAG as it's called, which actually outlines to make a website accessible what all is required, right? And because they understand that there are, people might want to only do a certain level, there are 3 levels that you can work with: level A, AA, and AAA, right? So you can actually only do some of the guidelines and not do everything. So to give you an example, let's say I have audio video on my slide, on my website, right? I can get it captioned because it might be too expensive, but I can provide a transcript of the whole audio video so that they can read it. That's allowed. If I get it captioned, that's the next level, right? Which will help the hearing impaired. Now, if I want to help also the blind, I can do audio description, which is in the 3rd level. Right? Like an audio description is, I don't know how many of you all heard, but My Name is Khan, one of the first movies, Veer. These were the 2 movies that have been released with audio description in the world. Audio description meaning, how does a blind person, he can hear the dialogues, right? Actually, the first question I should have asked was, do you think blind people go and see movies? The average answer is no. We don't think blind people go and see movies. But blind people love seeing movies, okay? Now, what happens is they hear the dialogues. But there's so much that's happening at the back end, right? In the, the scenery and like the reaction of somebody or anything. So what audio description does is that wherever there are gaps in the dialogues, there is a description provided by a different voice which describes what the background is, right? Actually, in the West, all libraries, all cinemas are supposed to have audio description captioning. In India, we don't yet have that. We're just starting to work in that space. Right? So that's how the guideline is segregated. You can do either level A, which is just give the transcript, you can do captioning, which is you take it to AA, or you can do AAA, which is take it to audio description. So it's a very well-defined guideline that can help people. So whenever we make a digital library, whenever we make an online library, we must ensure that these libraries are accessible to all disabilities, not only the visually impaired, right? And that is a must. Interestingly, I've already discussed the Braille large print and digital talking book while I was explaining it. This is demarked space. But sadly, you will always find a normal car being parked out there, which is the way that it is. But that's your first starting point. Then when you're coming up, do you have ramp access provided, right? Or is it step-free, that you can reach there without a problem? You don't always have to have a ramp. You can also have a movable ramp, right? So I went that day to the Marriott, and they have one of their restaurants which is at a slight elevation, and they didn't have any way of putting a ramp there. So what they do is they've kept a ramp on the way. If a person comes with a wheelchair, it's a service that they provide, that when the person is there with the wheelchair, they will always ask, if you're going there, somebody will run and put the ramp in for you. And that's where service comes into play, which is where I said, if you can't always do it, you can find a way of servicing them in a different way, right? So that's one. The entrance. Is the entrance accessible? You know, most of the time we find doors which are this narrow, right? Even you and I struggle in with a bag or two bags, you know, through most of these doors, or they're very heavy and we can't push them, right? So we need to figure out how these doors and access points will be accessible. Let's say you have 2 or 3 access points that happen in educational libraries. Then instead one of them is accessible. You don't need to ensure that all of them are accessible. But that's the kind of work that we need to do. Accessible furniture. I remember going to Xavier's library, okay, as a student, and the librarian used to be up there, and I'm relatively short, and I used to be down there, you know, and I could just imagine a wheelchair user who would really be down somewhere there. You can't even see the person, right? So, like when we do the conference, what we always tell people is, let's have one table which is of this height and one which is higher. Just one part of it can be a lower height so that you can service somebody, because you don't want to be talking to somebody that you can't see. How do you service these people? So can you probably service them, keeping in mind this kind of furniture? Very often furniture is the type that a wheelchair can't even fit into, right? But it should not be. Logically, it should just be, you know, easily moving in and moving out. So you have to look at the furniture. And there also you don't have to look at the entire library to start with. You know, you can make certain parts. 2 tables here, 2 tables there, 2 tables there. But don't even just make it that only that one corner. Then you're doing exactly what we were talking about, segregating them in a corner. So you have to think about how to go about doing this. A toilet, which is the biggest problem. So if you would like to hear the joke, when I first time did the conference in 2008, I was looking for a venue in Delhi. The only venue big enough to do that was either the Ashoka Hotel, and the second one was this place called India Habitat Center. Ashoka Hotel, so we have a lawsuit filed against, because they told us point blank they will not make a disabled friendly toilet, right? So that was an amazing story, because they said, we don't have it, sorry, we can't make it for you. And there's actually a ground rule that says that if you're a 5-star hotel, you must have a toilet which is disabled friendly at a common area. And they did not have that. But that was fine. Then we went to this place called India Habitat Center. And they had what they said was a disabled-friendly toilet. When we went to the disabled-friendly toilet to do an audit, what we realized was only a person with a crutch could go in. The wheelchair could not even enter, not even, you know, get a quarter way in. Right? But the beauty of it was that they worked with us to make a disabled-friendly toilet before we did our conference. Right? And today that has become the main venue in Delhi for people to run conferences. Because of that one disabled-friendly toilet, they have got business. Because internationally, when people are doing things, they look at all of these things. So the United Nations looks at it before they do an event. WHO looks at it before they do an event. So now they have something to talk about, right? And they got forced into doing it for us. So we start thinking, you know, about how we can do it. There is a possibility or a way of doing it. Similarly, circulation and information desks, they should be at a level that people can access, can reach. Very often in a library, one of the biggest problems is books are up there. You know, how is somebody going to get to that book, right? And how are you going to access those? So how do you plan libraries in a way that can actually reach those books. And if you can't, then provide service to that. Right? You can always do that. You can supplement it with saying that, okay, if you want something from there, somebody can help you pull it down. Most of the time what happens is the person doesn't even know who to go to, because nobody even thinks. So one person will say on duty, yes, we'll help you. The other one will say, sorry, we won't help you. We can't leave our desk right now. That ends the whole story to it. Right? That becomes